Germany is the addict and Russia is the supplier, and this addict is going to take down more with him this winter if we don't act soon. There's no doubt that Europe's energy demands have been affected by the war, and as winter approaches, things are getting colder.
Well, this week the Russian energy company Gazprom drastically reduced its deliveries of gas to Germany through the Nord Stream pipeline. The move complicates
If Europe is de-industrializing. European factories have been shutting down furnaces and keeping production to a minimum. Why?
Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz has unveiled a €200 billion plan.
Citizens of Switzerland have been told to urgently cut their power use due to fears of severe energy shortages and nationwide blackouts.
Europe is running out of electricity, and if you live in Europe, particularly Germany or even outside Europe in the UK, then you felt a hole in your wallet paying for your monthly electricity and gas bills.
In all the talk of Europe and Russia, this small country is often overlooked even when it faces the same consequences. With Russia cutting its supply, the price of natural gas, oil alongside electricity have been increasing in the West for the past few months. Among all this, what does it mean for Switzerland, a country which is so dependent on imports, and what can we expect this winter? How come a country which exports so much electricity now might be on the verge to face an energy crisis and sent 30,000 companies a brochure in October urging them to reduce their electricity consumption? Alter, like Switzerland, what's happening? What's good up? And to put insult to injury, while making this video, news broke out on the explosion of the Nord Stream, causing more agony and unrest on the already obfuscating situation. After Germany or rest of the Europe with it is exempt from using Russian gas, it has caused some agony and unrest in the neighboring countries. Though Switzerland is in no direct deal with Russia, it still depends on Russian gas, which is mainly sourced from Germany or France. Even though we are one of the lowest consumers of gas in Europe, it approximates around 13 to 15% of our total energy consumption. Then you may ask that why is it a problem for us if our neighbors are importing gas or not? Like Switzerland, your use case is so low in comparison to Germany, which is entirely dependent on the gas. Well, that is exactly the problem and the question. Let me explain. As some countries can produce electricity throughout the year, Switzerland on the other hand gets most of its electricity needs met by hydropower plant followed by nuclear power plants. We also have the highest dam in Europe, the Grand Fixian Dam located in Canton Valais. Hydro accounts more than half of its total electricity consumption, coming at 66%, followed by nuclear and biomass and others. But there is a catch. We produce a lot of electricity, so much that we export it. Because we get it from hydro, it happens only in summers. The flow of water allows to surplus the needs and hence we export it. But the challenge is in winter, when the flow of water is not that strong and we have to import almost 80% of it. And to put insult to injury again, we are depending less and less on our nuclear power plants to provide us anything. One out of the 5 nuclear plants, the Mühleberg, was recently shut down on 20th December 2019, and rest are still online as long as they are deemed safe, but they're also not allowed to run after 2035. The amount of electricity produced by domestic nuclear plants fell from 20% in 2020 to 18.5% in 2021. Some 30,000 companies were sent a brochure in October urging them to reduce electricity consumption. An electricity shortage that extends for weeks or months would mean that factories would produce less, public authorities and service companies such as banks would have to reduce their offerings, and means of transportation that depend on electricity, which is basically the entire Switzerland, such as trains and trams, could only operate on a limited extent. Haha, and how can we forget about Tesla owners now? All these hurdles make us import hell lot of energy. In the winter months, around 80% of the electricity is imported at a highest voltage possible. In fact, Switzerland imported 31 terawatts in 2018 and between 29 to 36 terawatts per year over the last 10 years, making it the 5th largest importer of electricity in the world. This is surprising for a country of this size. We are freaking small as hell and still we consume so much, especially when electricity makes around 1/3 of our total energy needs. More than 50% is literally petroleum, and then 23 to 25% electricity, and then gas. The Swiss energy minister Simonetta recently said, at the moment Switzerland exports electricity, she said, but in winter we will have to import it. So we must stay in close contact with the EU. That is the best thing we can do. We are not dependent on gas to make electricity, but we heavily depend on electricity and gas from neighboring countries who are dependent on gas to make a portion of their electricity, making us optionless this winter in terms of electricity needs. However, there is some good ray of sunshine in these dark days, and it's about gas. gas which Switzerland was able to fill up reserves overseas and import enough LNG to survive, even though when it accounts just roughly 13 to 15% of our total energy consumption. Most of the gas is used for heating and cooking. And just to show the dependency on electricity, my entire house runs on it. My entire house does not use gas at all. We use geothermal heating sourced from the depths of the earth to warm the rooms or heat up the water. Hell, we don't have a single gas usage in the house, not even in the kitchen. Because of that, I've completely stopped using heating in my room. Absolutely zero. And when are we gonna use more heating than ever? In winter. Where do we get our electricity in winter? From the neighboring countries like France and Germany. And how the hell are they gonna give us any electricity when they need gas to produce a portion of their own electricity?
Why, Dada, why?
This is business.
This is my sweat.
I know, but I did business.
Shut up! Shut up!
This is business.
Hey, Dada, why?
The last time Switzerland was able to produce enough electricity in winter was in 2002 and 2003. Since then, it has heavily been dependent on imports in this time of the year. But thank God when it comes to oil, Switzerland is not dependent on Russia. Apart from electricity and gas, we heavily depend on fossil fuels. It makes up literally 50% of our total consumption, whether for heating or transportation. Switzerland even imports 10 million tons of crude oil and finished petroleum products. It imports nearly half of the crude oil from Africa, 39% from Nigeria, 6% from Libya, 1% from Egypt. The rest is sourced from Kazakhstan, Mexico, and other countries. It raises even more questions. The same people who were protesting few months ago to stop import of Russian gas in solidarity with Ukraine, which is a good thing, don't get me wrong, but would the same people stay content and sane this winter when industries will shut down, their livelihood be at risk? Would we still see these people practicing what they preached, or would we see a great unrest and protest when their next meal is at risk? Would they demand to stick a deal with Putin again in risk of funding the war, or would they compromise and stick to their words? This is the dilemma. I don't know about Switzerland. We are usually pretty calm and rational, rather docile in such matters, but nothing concrete can be said about the outcomes as of right now. But some unrest among the general public and industry is surely expected. But only time will tell what really happens. But these are just my opinions. All the research I done, the links are provided in the description of the sources. And as I was making the video, the news about OPEC and what they did also broke out. But of course, that's a video for another day. Also, if I even make a video on it. I think such situations or such conditions like really reveal true colors of the people, and that is something we should really look out for. Were these people like just virtue signaling, and now when their own meals would be at risk, they will be the person they swore to destroy? Just the duality of the man. Anyways guys, like I usually don't make such videos, but if you like the video, please consider subscribing. I'm gonna be like moving back. I don't know, I don't have any niche. I will make vlogs, I will make such reports, I will make all sorts of content which come naturally to me or spike my curiosity. I don't have a niche. And yeah, see you like in another video. Altarishan so viel recherchiert und so viel gelesen für this Video. Und ich habe so viel habe ich nicht einmal im Lehr gelesen. Darum kann ich nicht drüber. Scheiße, oder?